Now I'm going to put the motor back together. First install the key in the axle groove. Then align the groove in the clutch assembly with the key. So now it went right in, but sometimes it takes a little bit of tapping on the clutch assembly in a round motion like this. Now install the O-ring. Make sure it is locked, that is important. Don't forget the washer, it's easy to forget about. Now I'm going to clean off the sealant from the surface of the hub, and it's better to keep the hub upside down so the fragments of the sealant don't contaminate the inside of the hub. You can use a wire brush to do that. Now remove the sealant from the hub cover. You also want to hold it so the fragments of the old sealant don't fall inside the motor. It's best to blow the motor with compressed air after you're done with cleaning. Now I'm done with cleaning. Normally I would repack motor with new grease, but I don't need to do that because it's a brand new motor. Recommended grease is Mobile 8 synthetic grease, aircraft grease actually. This is the ideal amount of grease to be put in the motor. It's best to not overuse the grease because then it'll get in the windings and it may actually start burning when windings get hot. Now I'm going to apply new sealant on the motor. This is the sealant that I like to use, Permatex black silicone adhesive sealant. It can be found in hardware stores. Only a thin layer of sealant is needed, but it needs to be continuous around the hub cover. I'll put the motor back into the hub. Be very careful with the axle seal because it is very easy to damage it. This must be performed with great care, again, not to accidentally damage the axle seal with a threaded portion of the axle. Just try to get it very centered. Now again, bend the wire, prevent damaging it. It's best to rotate the cover about half a turn to have the sealant evenly spread on the surface of the hub and the cover. Now align the Now tighten the screws. Just give it a good hand tight, don't use too much pressure because again those screws are very easy to strip and then they're hard to get out. Turn the wheel over and don't forget to install washers and axle nut before soldering the wires back together. So first the axle washer, then the round washer, lock washer, and axle nut. Next, strip and tin wires. Now all wire ends have been stripped and tinned. I'm going to slide a bigger piece of heat shrink on the wire cable. It will be used to later cover all the joints, so it'll be used in the very last step. Here I have 3 pieces of bigger heat shrink for phase wires and smaller heat shrink for Hall sensor wires. Slide the shrink over the wire. And solder wires together. Slide the shrink over the joint and shrink it. Now do the same for Hall sensor wire. Now all wires have been reconnected and each joint has a shrink over it. And I'm going to slide this white piece of heat shrink over all the connections.